Hi, Bianca.
Oh, hello.
How you doing today?
I am doing all right. Have been better, but all things
But we're
considered.
here, so it's great.
Yeah, so it's the happiest day of my life.
Yeah. It's the
Every
happiest day of
day,
your life every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. A/B
every
testing.
you know,
Welcome.
no, yeah, whatever the clock strikes 2 p.m. on Tuesdays, EST, of course. Forget all the other time zones.
Noon for me, but that's okay.
Let's see.
But welcome to A/B testing, everybody. We're so happy you're here. I'm pretty excited for today.
No, I know. Whenever Alex is like, okay, and our guest, and then we got our guest, and then we got our guest, and we got our guest. It was just a lot of excitement. But no, this is gonna be good. So thank you everyone for joining us today on A/B testing stream. We're happy to have you. If you're looking at this in the future, what do we have to say to you? Happy Tuesday. Enjoy this. This will be great. Let us know if you have any feedback or comments. Let's see, Alex, can you remind us again what kind of month that we are having?
This month is going to be our voice AI month. We're going to be talking about all things with speaking with AI. How do we talk to AI, interacting with AI? AI has really unlocked this new way of communicating just as a human, and voice is such a big part of that. And so we'll be talking to different people at Twilio, maybe someone outside of Twilio, we'll see, about how voice and AI or how AI enables voice and the things that you can do when you have kind of voice powered AI, and just getting to know some really cool builders as well. I think that's what I'm excited for, because we got cool people that we get to talk to.
Got it. So, I mean, we have one that is joining us on stream. I think, why not bring our first guest on our AI and voice month?
Welcome, Brandon. Hello.
Hey, folks.
Everybody. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Meet Brandon Hawkins. Brandon is a product manager on a couple different teams, but at Twilio, focusing on kind of converse. I mean, you introduce yourself.
I was gonna say, I was like, Brandon, how would you introduce yourself if you were telling them about yourself?
Okay, I'm Brandon Hawkins. I'm a product lead for conversational AI at Twilio. There's a variety of things under that umbrella. I specialize in voice. I've been at Twilio for 5 years. Started off on the voice SDKs. We can dig into that. I've been involved in the voice experience team with UX and console. But today it's all things AI, and I love that voice is sexy again. Voice people want to talk about voice. It was written off a few years ago. So, we feel like we got a chip on our shoulder here.
Yeah, voice is definitely having a comeback. Yeah. It's really all about voice, I think. And we'll talk about this more in stream. But before we get to other important voice details, welcome to Not Sponsored, our session where we talk about the things that we're into or the things that we're eating. So today I brought Sponsored, Not Sponsored by Mason Jars. We got some water in the mix. Also not sponsored by Pure Organic. One day I will be an influencer. Also not sponsored by Lululemon, but we're all sponsored by Lululemon in our hearts.
Reasonable.
Shout out. It's being honest. But yeah, so we got a little raspberry lemonade fruit bar. I'm also clearly I have a theme, a sweet tooth today. I'm also not sponsored by some leftover gluten-free brownies. So we're just today's
sounds nice.
Today's theme was really food centric. But yeah, that's the direction I decided to go in. Brandon, what is sponsored, not sponsored?
Yeah, what are you excited about?
In the spirit of Bianca's, I'm going to go with what I have right in front of me, which is Waterloo sparkling water.
Wow.
I mean, really premium tier sparkling water. Right.
Wow. You're not a LaCroix. You're not with the LaCroix vibes.
This is the top shelf for sparkling waters. Yeah, it's as good as it gets. And then I've got a bonus.
I feel like it's Spindrift.
Oh, go ahead.
But maybe.
Okay. You get a little sugar in there, right? Like that's like a gram or two of sugar. I think that's real fruit. Oh, it's real fruit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you also said you had a little bonus in there. So in addition to this, okay.
I have been going. Have you all heard of the silo? It's an Apple TV series, but it was a book.
Okay.
Yeah, the books are great.
Cool.
Okay, man, blew my mind. Incredible TV show. And then I was so like, I've got to find out what happens. I went and got the books. And I just finished like the first book in like 3 days. It's incredible.
Yeah, I read those books years ago and they are great. And the whole series is really good. And the author does a great job of like keeping up the suspense, and like you learn more, but it just like digs you deeper into the mystery of what's going on. It's a cool one.
It's like post-apocalyptic human survival. Yeah, it's wild. You should check it out.
Yeah,
You know,
that's on my list for shows to watch.
it's on
which is
the
cool.
on the lovely list. Alex, what have you brought today for?
Yeah,
Um,
hold on.
Whoa.
Yeah, we
Whoa.
got it.
There's some sparkling water
You guys-
drama.
Ready for this?
Oh,
We
boy.
got-
Bam.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
gosh.
Okay.
Wow.
Just show everybody up.
Wow, Alex. Anyways,
Inspired by some people in chat, like Dom, D Kundal. You've got a nice glowy background. So this is partially inspired by you. Yeah, I'm super psyched. I installed the TP-Link Casa lights because there was a way to like build gaps into it, and like some of the other ones don't let you do that. So yeah,
Can you change the colors and like
can.
strobe them and stuff?
Yeah, I can do all that stuff. You know, I got like, you know, I can just go solid colors. I just,
Oh, wow.
you know, I haven't set up all my presets yet. And there's like, you can do some cool effects, right? Like you can do the like, I don't know what this one's gonna do, but slowly light it up. You guys can see how I installed it over time, and like it'll slowly light up. So there's some fun stuff here. This is specifically for the new show that I'm making, the Twilio update, and we're gonna be kind of going with the theme and some of the new brand stuff and being a little bit more like darker with some fun neon.
and
things.
even though we're not sponsoring these companies, where did you get this? Where you get your lights from?
Yeah, I got, well, I mean Amazon, but like these are the TP-Link Casa.
Okay.
That's like
Mm-hmm.
the Casa stuff is my favorite like affordable home automation things.
Okay.
They're not always the best. Like I also have some other brands that like are a little bit better quality, but it's so easy. Their switches are great. Everything's just like good and easy. And
We're
does
in the
exactly what
Casa
you need.
ecosystem here too with the
Yeah.
switches. And I think we have a water like leak thing, but I get confused in the smart home things.
I recently set up the Home Assistant, like a server at my house to like manage it all. So like I can control all the stuff from my my Stream
Hand-
Deck, which I'm
handy
super psyched about.
desk. No, yeah, this is good. This is good. Okay, so yeah, I love this. This is one of my favorite segments because you know, no free ads on Twilio devs. We only shout out Twilio because Twilio pays us. So we're always sponsored by Twilio. So yeah, okay. So we are very excited. Also shout out to all the folks joining us in chat. Say hello, introduce yourself. Actually, I was
Ooh.
gonna be like,
Craig wants
tell
to know
us.
if ChefBot has background lights. I want to know if the bot. Well, the bots does have some glow in the background.
Yeah.
Now.
I've been on my I need to get my my full setup. It's on the to-do list. We'll get there. We'll get there on the lights. The
I was
lights.
gonna throw a little bit of shade. It looks like you got some pictures back there to hang up. I've got a few over here.
See,
They've been here for years though, so I don't know.
I'm getting it's getting up there. It moved from the living room to now the office room. So then it's progression. One day it'll make
Okay.
it on walls. But we're not there yet. So okay, so Brandon, we'd love to just kind of get to know you. Maybe the people in chat know you, maybe they don't. So where are you calling us in from?
Boulder, Colorado, in the U.S.
Okay. Why?
We're like
what would-
neighbors.
yeah,
We're a
we
Colorado crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, why Colorado? Are you is that are you from there? Is it just vibes?
No. If you've ever visited Boulder, Colorado, you'll know why. Because it's just you look outside. It's just incredible. I cut my teeth in DC, on the East Coast. Born and raised in Virginia, moved to DC after college or in college and then after for 10 years. And I just was like, man, cities are awesome, but I really like to be outside. My younger brother went to CU Boulder, and we all came out to visit him, and everyone was like, "Whoa, this place is crazy." And so yeah, we've all migrated here over time. Actually, as my whole family's here.
The same thing happened to my family. I think my parents actually got a house in the mountains first, but then my sister went to CU Boulder, and now she lives down the street. We're here, we're in Denver, and then my in-laws also bought a house kind of in between Boulder and Denver, and the whole family's here. It's kind of nice when that happens.
No, I feel that in terms of like the DC, I went to school in DC, and I'm like, it's cool and all, but I do feel like once you get a taste of just some awesome nature, that's how I feel about the Bay Area. Like it just switches it up once you've had a taste of that. You're like, nature.
California is pretty cool like that because the nature is just in the middle of the city more. And you get that a little bit in Boulder. Denver's a little removed. Yeah,
there's a little bit of a misconception about Denver. I don't want to go too far off here, right? But like, Denver's basically Kansas. It's like West Kansas. It's flat.
Very flat. It is pretty flat.
People think, oh, you're in the mountains, but that's...
You come out of the mountains like as you're coming out, and then like you hit this one hill, and you're just like you can see, and you're like, it's flat until I get to West Virginia, like. Yeah, you're right. It is the start of the plains. But
the mountains, like, to be fair, they're right on the edge, like right on the edge of Denver, and it's just boom, you're in the mountains. Yeah. But it's people think, oh, Denver, sleepy Colorado mountain town. That is not. That's not what's going on.
Different vibes. Okay. So then, all right. So because we're gonna do a pop quiz for chat, so you need to know everything about Brandon. So all right. So beyond Denver, like, what other things can folks find you doing if they want to bond with you? Like, what should they be? What are we into?
The biggest one is all the outdoor stuff, right? So if anyone ever wants to go hiking or I don't climb as much. I have a 2-year-old son, and I had to give some stuff up, but the climbing was the one.
It's real.
Skiing, obviously skiing is a big one. I had to give that up a little bit. It's time consuming. But biking's the big one.
Nice. Have you gotten your son on skis yet?
We got him some for this past Christmas. We got him some used like intro skis and pulled him around the park out next to our house. How about you?
We did the indoor skiing thing. I don't know if you've seen that. There's a few of them around Colorado.
This is crazy.
There's literally like this guy set up a warehouse with like little felt hills, and you get your kids skiing early. So she halfway through the classes, she got the fear. So we tried once. She was not happy. We'll do it again next year, but we'll get out there.
The Colorado lifestyle is a whole different ballgame. Like the kids who grow up here. I grew up on the East Coast. We didn't really do skiing. And now my son can barely walk, and he's learning how to ski, which is crazy.
I know, it's wild.
Different, the priorities. No, I feel it. Also, okay, so the other thing too, we have some Lego action. That's another thing we learned.
I see something over your back shoulder there.
Yeah. Okay.
I love a good Lego set, and as you can see, I love a good Lego space set in particular. Ooh. So this is all the like NASA stuff. That was my go-to top of the Christmas list type thing each year.
Nice.
And played with Legos as a kid, and then became a software engineer. There you go. Which is similar, I think. And then I got to keep the Lego thing going.
No, yeah, it's all the. No, yeah, what is it? Adam Nash at LinkedIn. He like that was his thing. I think we had this like huge mega Lego set thing. It was like pretty massive. So they like put it in a container. But yeah, I feel like once you're into Legos, it's a commitment. But it's like all in.
I mean, and you both have kids, right?
Just me.
Oh,
yeah, just Alex.
Kids? Yeah. Okay. So my son has just gotten to the age where he's like aware of Legos and blocks, and so I'm really excited to live through him again.
Yeah, we got Isla, my daughter, who's I think just a month or two younger than your son. We got her some Duplo.
Yeah.
And she enjoys those.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotta
RJ
start.
Pearson totally grew. Amazing how many engineering concepts you can teach using Legos, for sure.
Also there were some reflections early on in chat. Apparently there are some divisions in terms of sparkling water.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. Wow. Who knew?
Wait, what's Dom? Dom has a strong opinion. I
Wow.
agree with you on
Wow.
many things, but the top sparkling water is just any German mineral water.
Wow.
Or something like San Pellegrino.
Wow.
Wow, you're bringing it in from overseas here.
We're not responsible for.
Chef Brent agrees with me, but he also likes Waterloo.
Okay.
Craig also made a request, which I will work on at some point, to let chat control my lights via text message. I'm totally
Craig.
in. I think I know a lot of how to do that. I don't know exactly how to do it, but I'm pretty close.
We also had some Mindstorm Legos. Anyone remember? Had some.
Yeah, Dave's talking about Mindstorm Legos. Were those the ones you could control with like the little, like the robot things? I forget.
We'll
I'm
find out.
Googling it live. Yeah. Looks like some sort of more sophisticated, robot stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mindstorm was pretty cool. Okay. This is good.
What do we got?
Okay. Lego Mindstorm. Okay. Yes. Okay. I feel like, yeah.
Yeah.
This is up your
More
this
things
is-
to take our money. Yeah.
This was.
Oh
up
yeah,
your
they had the
stuff.
little control. I had stuff like this. I think I had these actually too.
I was
You
gonna
could
say, I was like,
control and
Alex,
set it
isn't
up.
this up your this is up your alley? You know?
Yes.
Robotics.
Yeah.
Robots.
There's a few different Lego robotics things. There was another one that I used when I was working in a library helping teach kids coding things.
Okay.
Any of these things are cool because it's like makes it really easy for kids to jump into some of the Lego stuff. So I appreciate that.
This is good. This is good.
The Lego analogy is one we use all the time, by the
All the
way,
time.
at Twilio, talking to customers and like, hey, we have Legos, and then we also have sets of Legos, right? So if you want the whole set, we got it. But if you want just this piece, we have that too. It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
No, I feel that. I love Lego, but no, that's real. That's real. I feel like
Frackberg's got a doomsday for us. Saddest day of my parenting life was when I realized my boys didn't need my help building Legos.
Double-edged sword.
that is
I buy that.
No, that's real, man. Oh
Yeah.
Don't worry though, you can still build them. I think we're gonna take the stigma and shame around. Like adults can have Legos. I think
Yeah.
it's a great. I feel like it's a great outlet as well.
Also,
we even did like a. This is from our holiday.
team building.
This is from our team building. Don't ask why it is next to me because every now and then I'll just go back to it. But like, it's just such a simple thing of just like starting from nothing and just building out something. But you had kind of mentioned your like Lego engineering connection. So I'm like kind of curious, like how did we even get here? Like where'd you start? Like I know right now you're doing all things conversation relay, but like can you kind of walk us through the very early days?
Well, we'll try to keep this somewhat abbreviated. Let's see. So I graduated high school and basically had no idea what I wanted to do, and I rebelled and was I'm going to figure out life. So I waited tables for a little while, try to figure out what was the right thing for me, and eventually figured out that there was this thing called programming. And I love the computers, and I grew up in the era of the internet. And the rise of the internet. But I didn't really understand how all that stuff worked. And so that was a huge draw to me, like problem solving. And I think that goes back to the Legos. Also music too. I played music, played guitar and piano since I was a little kid. Pattern matching and problem solving. And so being able to do that, where you could like build things and be creative with software engineering, that was a huge draw to me. And so that's what I majored in college, and that was my first job out of college, was being a software engineer for the government because I was in DC.
Nice.
And then someone told me, I'll never forget it. They were like, "Hey, have you heard?" They were like, "This startup is hiring," and I was like, "What's a startup?" And they were like, "Well, they have like dogs and beer in the office and ping pong tables." This is like the era of like the stereotypical. Spend too much money startup. And I was like, that sounds way more fun than
than government work.
the government work, no offense. And I went and checked that out, and it was true. They existed. It was a real company, and they had customers, and they were making money and stuff. So I tried out. I joined them. I was engineer number 4, employee maybe number 15 or 20, I forget. And it just happened to be a great choice. That was Storyblocks, stock media content. It's an all-you-can-eat subscription. Don't have to worry about the licensing. It's just you use it, it's yours, royalty free. And man, we disrupted that industry pretty hardcore.
Nice.
That was a rocket ship. Yeah.
Yeah. We have an interesting one in chat. So you're the second person because you're like half on the ETI team right now, the emerging technology team. You're like helping them out while Rachel's on mat leave. And RJ wants to know if being musical is a requirement for working with Dom, because we had Vinny on, who's a software dev, and he's a musician as well.
Interesting.
So you can comment on that, Dom.
Unless Dom is just creating a secret band, and
is that what's going on?
I think that might just be at some point there's gonna pop. I know I wasn't supposed to say anything, but JK.
Dom is the only non-musician
in his band. Yeah,
in his band with all musicians. So that
you'd be surprised. Twilio has a good representation of musicians, secret people with secret talents that are quite good.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's something too, like you said, you work on voice, and we'll get more into that in a bit, but like there's a sound component to it, which, it's interesting.
I think also with music, like there's the technical aspect, there's also the creative aspect too. It's like rigid enough, but then also there's some creativity in there. So I do think there's like, I don't know, there's like some cool balance there. So, okay. So you mentioned story.
Just one more on that, like this whole concept of music and in programming and most things I do in my life, there's like rules. You got to learn like the fundamentals, right? And the scales and everything. But then once you know them and you practice them, you can throw them out and you can improvise.
And I often feel like the folks that you could tell like are just great musicians, like they know the fundamentals, but they play around with them or they push them to bound. Like they just push them in different ways. So it's like, I don't know, that to me is like the exciting part, which is like, we get the basics, but then,
Brandon, what kind of music is your favorite? While we're on that topic.
I know it's pretty stereotypical for living in Colorado, but I'm a huge fan of the jam bands. I listen to all kinds of music, but that's my heart.
I feel that.
Yeah, and the Fish in particular, I used to follow them around a bit when I was younger. And still try to see them every once in a while.
Have you gone to Dick's recently?
Yes, and there's for folks who don't know, there's
please.
Dick's Sporting Goods sponsors what is it, a soccer field?
It's where the Colorado Rapids play.
Okay, yeah, it's in Colorado in the outskirts of Denver, and Fish kind of treats it as their unofficial annual festival. That Labor Day weekend, and so it's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The whole there's like giant. One of the parking lots is converted to like a giant. They call it like a shakedown street, which is like an old reference to like Dead concerts, but it's like there's vendors and
great
food
people watching.
Amazing people watching.
Into that. Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun time. I went last year. I've gone a few times to fish in different places. Not as many as you, I don't think. You told us earlier you'd gone to 60 plus shows. I'm not there yet.
You're not there?
No, I've probably been to like 30 Wilco shows.
Okay.
That's my band that I'm like obsessed with. Like I have a dozen posters hung up on my wall on the other side of the office. Which is different because like Fish plays like they always play like 3 or 4 nights in a row, and it's like their tours are very like long in that regard. So it's a little bit, I feel like you can rack up those Fish shows pretty quickly.
You can, yeah, you can. And the thing that appeals to me is that every show is different. So it's not like, you're going to go, and probably with Philco, right? You don't go and see the same, they play their album each night. That would probably not be the most.
It's just
fun.
different vibes.
They've done that in times. Like at one point I went to a concert where they replayed note for note Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. But that was like the point of the concert. But I'm like, well, I'm not going to go multiple nights because it's going to be the same thing. So you kind of know.
Right.
But yeah, Fish is very unique every night. It's a fun one.
We're going to wait for music.
I'm not musical, RJ. I've tried to learn a few things. But I don't have a guitar. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen.
So unless we get Chris, aka Tofrog, we're just gonna do guitar lessons on stream. So that's gonna be our next segment.
This product strategy Twilio is
That's right, Craig.
No, all the things. Okay, so you got into so we got music, we got startups, and I love how just like this journey goes all the places. But I'm kind of curious, like what connected you to voice? Like when did you know voice is going to be my thing? Like or is it just like
Are we all friends here? Is this the trust tree? Can I be honest? Okay.
It is here.
I started off the original job posting that I joined for Twilio. This is when Twilio was skyrocketing in 2019, 2020, and the job posting was developer experience and voice SDKs. It was just like a big hodgepodge of stuff. They were like,
all the things.
There's too much stuff over here. Somebody come figure this out. And I was like, man, I don't know anything about voice. I don't know anything about telecom. I don't even know if that's interesting. To be frank, and I interviewed with the team and I started talking to more people, and people were like, oh, Twilio is awesome. Like their APIs are incredible. Our documentation is amazing. Look what I built. You can build it in like 5 minutes. And so I came in kind of, excited about Twilio, the company, and maybe a little hesitant about voice in particular. And I've warmed up to it over time, is what I would say.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. We've taken something so old and technical and hard and made it modern and pretty cool.
Did you join as a PM or did you join because I know you like started off your career as a software developer?
Yeah, I made that switch almost 10 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 10 years ago now. Yeah, at the first startup I was at. We needed prioritization and someone was like, we need PMs, and nobody knew what that meant. So we hired one externally, and I got the opportunity to mentor under him. But yeah, I joined here as a PM.
Okay. I feel like that's kind of how it goes with PM. It's like you were doing something else and then someone's like, we need this other thing that other people can't do. And like, for me, it was because like I was a fine coder, but not the best. And I was better at like interacting with humans. And I was like, okay, I'll try PMing out for a little bit.
You're like, why not? Why not? Okay. So this might be a little tangent, but I think even this aspect of just like solving problems, what do you feel like voice kind of unlocks, right? Like as we're trying to solve certain problems in business.
Well, it's the oldest form of communication, right? It's the most human, the most natural. It's the first thing we learn when we grow up. It's the default, right? And I think being able to unlock that in a programmatic way, which Twilio does, obviously, that's the key. Right. Like it used to be, all these things are in these weirdo telco systems and you can't see the data flowing through, and it's hard to make it do what you want. And we sort of modernized that, but it is the primal channel, right? Everyone can resonate, can connect with it. And it's how we communicate every day. It's, what we've been breaking bread and talking over dinner tables for millennia. So it's just the default.
Yeah.
Right. I think we take it for granted, honestly. I think that's what.
But it's kind of interesting because it's like, if we think about, especially when you have these things that are so classic, there's a tendency to not want to change. So I think I'm kind of curious, like how do you encourage innovation in some of these like legacy spaces, right? Whether that is voice, whether that is, telecom, the space that we're in. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious from your lens, having to push products, especially I think like you've even had to do with like physical products or like, how do you, pushing innovation in those spaces, just kind of curious, like what's been helpful for you?
I mean, the age old it's sort of like which are you, glass half full, glass half empty? It's either cost savings and automation or better experience for your end customers, or better workflows. And so the best is when you combine both. That's how you kind of get people to care, right? It's like, as technology evolves, we find new ways of applying it, and voice is now the latest, right? With AI that people are turning their attention to and what we can do there, where you can give everybody an awesome experience, not just, hey, I hope they get a good agent today if you call in a support number, or man, I hope even a human answers my call. I hope I can get through this phone tree, right? Like now everybody can get serviced, by the best customer service rep, and they don't get tired and they don't get grumpy.
Wow. Yes.
That's a good point.
Everyone's having a great day every day.
I actually have a tangent that I just thought about, because you mentioned that voice is like the primal communication method. And so like kids are around the same age, they're starting to talk a lot more. I'm sure your son is too. How has seeing like a human being go through the stages of like becoming a human being, has that affected how you think about like the like building products or like some of this interaction, especially since you are
Ooh.
working on like a product that is very like fundamental to what it is to be human?
It's such a good question, and I wish I had a deeper answer that I probably should. Like I feel guilty. Like,
All
man, I
good. All
should I
good.
should have some deeper
Just roll
answer.
with it, you know?
Like I don't know how old we all are here. I'll just out my I was born in '85, and so it was the era before the internet, but it clearly remember the internet, right? Like then we kind of grew up knowing what it is, but you know that you
Hmm.
watch somebody from the next generation and the next
Mm-hmm.
generation, they know exactly what to do, and nobody told you. Like my son can navigate a phone or an iPad. Like I didn't tell him. You don't tell him
No,
to do that.
it's wild when they start taking pictures on your phone. You're like, how did you just figure that out?
And I know this isn't unique, right? But like it's just wild. Like I think you just start to, and so
Hmm.
AI I think is going to be like that for this generation. I showed my son, ChatGPT the app, and it has advanced voice in it. And he, they did a thing where it pretended to be Santa Claus for Christmas, and he was talking to it,
Yeah.
and it was wild.
But okay, all right. But then what comes to mind with that though is like, I think there's also this fearlessness because I was thinking about like, boomer parents and them just being so resistant to so much change. And I do wonder if kids are just like, this is just what it is. I'm going to meet this with curiosity. I'm going to meet this with openness. So I do wonder if that aspect plays a role in how kind of the next gen engages with technology. Because I do feel like, a lot of times, the boomers are like, oh, this is complicated, or I don't feel like doing this. And then it's like, I don't know, but kids, they just meet it with like, I'm just going to be experimental. I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to press this button and it may call 911, but I don't care. And you're like, wow. So I don't know. There's this fearlessness, but then I wonder how that fearlessness allows folks to like how we build technology, right? With an understanding that this next generation of folks are just a bit more fearless. They're a bit more open with tools. Okay, that was
With great power comes great responsibility, and this is something, right? I think we're all going to figure out together. Twilio certainly has some thoughts. I do too, right? About like where's the edge and the boundary and who's responsible for what. But look, man, I mean, especially in the world of the age of AI, that's a whole other thing, right? Where we have guardrails and we need to, have these things not hallucinate, and that's a whole other can of worms. I think we're all, it's early days, right? We're still figuring some things out.
Mm-hmm.
What will that look like? What does safety in the age of AI look like? But yeah,
Yeah.
curiosity. I mean, like curiosity. I think that's the thing that I've always had from it's the common theme with all the Legos and the problem solving. The book series Silo, like it's a book. It's basically about people being curious. That's what like. So
Yeah.
the kids.
And
I love that
yeah, and
attitude.
like the whole thing's about stifling curiosity, right? And
That's
like
right.
not wanting people to be curious and then getting it back. I love science fiction for that reason. I feel like it lets you just experiment with it's a way to be curious in writing and explore like what would happen if.
And I keep on going back to this like how we build things, and I think like we got so focused on like the metrics, the shareholders, and all these constraints, right, while building. And I think kind of getting back into this the fundamentals, right, of like how is this augmenting a person's experience? Like why are we creating this in the first place? But I'm kind of curious, right? Like you've worked at these early stage startups. How has your thought about building evolved, right? Like over the past, from the time you started, right? Like at your first company to like even now, do you feel like you keep a lot of the thoughts around how you build? Or I'm just kind of curious, like, yeah, how you think about building evolved?
It's definitely changed, and I'm going to give you an answer that's cliched, and now I know why it's a cliche. And look, the most important thing, particularly in product and like when you're trying to figure out, is to be curious and listen to customers. It's not to have it's fine to have an idea, but you don't, have a solution and then go find a problem. You have to start with a problem, and then find a solution to it. And that sounds so simple, but it's much harder in practice. I remember earlier in my product days, I would think, oh, I've got a great idea. We're going to bring it to life and customers are going to love it. And I learned quickly, that's not how it works. You have to solve a customer problem, and it has to kind of be inverted. And so we used to do a lot of A/B testing, and ultimately the process of doing that and low stakes tests kind of develop an intuition for like what's
Yeah.
going to work. But man, it just really goes back to the simple basics of being curious about a customer problem, and that'll take you to a solution.
You just explained why I'm not a product manager in a nutshell. Because I've had basically 3 opportunities to do project management, and every single one of them, and maybe this is my fault for not pushing it, there was a like CEO or COO or some executive that had an idea of what they wanted to build, and then they're like, here, go build this thing. And there was so much of like, even the job I had before Twilio, I got fired. I got fired from my job because I was trying to be a product manager with a CEO who had an idea of what he wanted to build and then was trying to find the problem that he was solving with it. And he was a very smart guy, PhD, roboticist, everything. But it was so, you couldn't say, oh, like, this isn't what I think people want, or like, this is what people want. It's so hard. And like, glad I got fired. I like this job better. But, you just encapsulated why I think being product manager can be so hard and so challenging.
Bianca, I don't know if you want to jump in. There's like a stereotype that product managers basically just tell everybody no, so nobody likes them. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. We're in the trust tree here. It's hard.
I like the trust tree. You might have to put some merch. Trust tree.
This is from my colleague MC, who's a Twilio legend, Michael Carpenter.
See,
I feel like, yeah, we should make that a saying for the show. It's like A/B testing. Like, we're join the trust tree.
Dude, I like it. Just feels warm. Like
you really learn how to say no in a way that like somebody leaves the conversation like, did he say no? He said no.
Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. No, okay. So one thing that started to come up while you were talking, Alex, which is like, this is why I think we should have more hackathons, like internal company hackathons. I think sometimes, here's my theory with the execs. I feel like people just want to build, but they live vicariously through the companies. And it's like, this is not, get your own Lego set. You have the company things that the company needs to build for that set of users. But I think sometimes people have that itch, right, to kind of create something to solve problems. And I think this is why I think like folks should be building personally, right? Like you should be tinkering, you should be creating stuff just so you personally fulfill that desire. Because I think that's where you start to have like companies that then become companies become like a personal pet project. I've seen this with tons of startup founders, and I'm like, this should have just been your side project. Please don't build a company around this.
Because you're putting other people's lives too that you're then involving in the experience. So
I think this to me is just like, at least once a quarter, build something that makes you happy, so you're not feeling like you have to live through your company. So that's what started to bring to mind, which is like getting back to the basics of like why you're in business. You are in business for customers, like for your customers.
Those are some of the best products where like, somebody you solve your own problem. You're the target customer, and you're like, man, I know this pain more than anybody. I'm going to fix it. So those are some of the best products.
Yeah. I feel like you see that occasionally. What was that big one that was like the first product management software that kind of went big, or one of the first ones was, I just had it in my head and then I forgot what it was.
I think I know what church.
But it was
Aha.
No, they were out of Chicago, and they were a software agency, and they were like, but in the process, they built their own product management software.
Is it Basecamp?
Yeah.
I was going to say it's Basecamp 99 Designs.
And then everyone started using it. Yep. Basecamp. I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
That was like the pure example. RJ had a great question that I'm going to pose to you, Brendan. Does being technical aid being a PM? Yeah, and why?
And then there's another question RJ had.
Yeah, I'll get to that later. That was a really good question.
It's a double-edged sword, RJ. I would say it comes down as, I would put it in a pro column. It's a positive, particularly at like a company like Twilio. But you have to be careful, right? That like specifically with software engineering, like I know that world and I came from that, so I have to be careful not to like inject here's the how and let the team decide the how, and make sure I'm very clear about like the why. And what problem we're trying to solve and who the customer is. Because there's people who are now a lot smarter than me. My software engineering knowledge is now 10 years out of date. So, I have to be careful about not having super opinionated takes on stuff. And I think that's similar. Like PMs typically come from, well, they now come from any background, but it used to be business, UX, or or engineering. That was kind of the three big ones. And you just have to be careful about what your bias is from your background to not, shunt the other two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Brent did mention that the company we're talking about was 37 Signal.
That's it.
And they do some cool, their website's pretty cool. It's just straight like,
Oh, they
start reading
changed
stuff.
it. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I was like, it had personality before. It
This is
had
Basecamp.
Okay.
Jason's the CEO or the founder. And then DHH. These guys, I think, they're pretty vocal
Yeah.
on the socials.
On the socials. Okay, this is what I remember. Like, I was like, there's more color. I was like, what was
That's
this?
Basecamp versus it's a project manager that's powered by 37 Signals.
Oh yeah. Okay, gotcha. This was, oh my gosh. That's the other thing too, which is like, sorry, this is taking me back because I'm like, when you see these software tools.
Sorry.
Well, they're famous. Like, I can't remember the title of the book. It was something like work doesn't have to be crazy, or I forget what it is, but it's like
the name of the book is, they have one called Shape Up. It doesn't have to be crazy at work.
Okay.
And they wrote Rework. I read Rework.
Okay. The whole idea is like you can have work-life balance, and it doesn't have to be all over indexed in a particular direction, and you can do great things. It's a pretty balanced, reasonable take.
Chaos shouldn't be the natural state at work. I agree.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is one of the things that I noticed. So like I think we've all had this experience. When you're at a small startup, it is pretty chaotic. And being at Twilio is a little bit less chaotic. There's different kinds of chaos.
You're
probably in the most of it, Brendan, but like,
oh yeah, I feel like doing PM at like a large company with different personalities, and like everyone is bringing their own styles and their own energy. Okay, so this is my other product question. How do you balance like being not strict, but like being like, no, we're not veering on this, versus like wanting to bring everyone along or together? Because like basically, yes, you don't want to be too opinionated, but how do you balance out like, no, I have a strong point of view on this, and these are the standards and expectations? Because I do think in products, everyone's smart, everyone is bringing something to the table. I love how Brandon, he's like, well, I don't know. But yeah, I just am kind of curious, like, what does leadership look like for you in products in a way that like builds camaraderie, consensus, like progress? But like, I don't know, I'm just kind of curious of like
the easy questions here.
We're getting deep. We're getting deep here. Keep on your toes.
While you were talking, one thing that occurred to me, I'll answer a question. I'll try. Occurred to me. I used to think I was decent at this. Like I had gotten better at it. And my manager is Andy O'Dower. He's the VP of product for voice and video at Twilio. He's the master at this. Getting folks to want to work together organically and encouraging collaboration. He's so good at it. So that's a big learning for me, is that there's always room to improve. It's really hard. That's the job, right? That's the nature of the game.
I like that as a goal, right? Because I think sometimes we think the goal is like build this great product, versus if you want to work together, you're gonna build something great. Like if you find your groove, like at some point, something good should come out of that. But I do think even this aspect of like the relationship fundamentals, as it relates to product. But I think sometimes we can get so focused on like, here's the solution I'm going after. Here's a deliverable. And I'm kind of guilty of that. I can be very like, I was like, we got to get this thing done. We have to check this off. And it's like, and then people are like, the process, how did we, and I was like, no, I got to check this off. So,
I mean, you said it yourself. We work with smart people. So to some extent, it's sort of like make it really clear what we're trying to do and then get out of the way.
Yeah.
Because these people are super smart. Especially, I mean, I'm biased to the engineers because I came from that world. Man, our engineers are like world class. You bring them a problem and you're like, there's no way there's just no way. There's no solution to this. And they'll be like, actually, what about this? And then another person will be like, oh yeah, that's good. What about that? And then sooner or later, you've got something pretty cool.
I also love that. See, lots of quotables. Just let us know when you launch the book. We'll be your first stop on your book tour. No, I love that reminder too around like your job is clarity, not control in some ways. And I do think like when you've built so many things, it's very easy to be like, I know how we can build this versus how do we get as clear as possible on what we're trying to build, why we're trying to build it. And that's not always fun, right? Like you're like, oh, I have to slow down to kind of like bring people along. But I love that it allows other people to feel empowered to help you kind of tackle these big issues. So I love a lot of these, like how we build, like being thoughtful around that.
We repeat ourselves over and over again, right? I think this is a pretty common leadership refrain. Like if you want clarity, you have to say the same thing every time. This is what matters. Just remind everybody, and everyone's, me included. There's so many things competing for our attention. It just sometimes you got to go, okay, remember these are the two things. This is the only thing that matters, and just say it over and over again.
That's why we constantly repeat. Tune in to A/B testing, 2 p.m.
It's
Eastern
2 p.m.
time,
I know that now. I didn't know that before today. It's every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Wow. See, if nothing else,
we are consistent.
You're a leader. You're doing stuff.
I love it. No, I think that's the hard part, right? Which is like having to constantly repeat yourself. Because I think sometimes we feel like that. No, maybe I'm making this personal, but I was like, let me not speak for the group. But I think sometimes it can feel like
I was going.
You were with me? You were with me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think like it can feel like it's slowing things down, right? Like to pull people in and along, and it's like there's so much that you can do by yourself. But I do think there is such a value in like getting more people hype and excited to tackle these.
You go farther with other people. I forget, there's a cool, speaking of quotables, there's a good quote. I forget what it is. Do it alone, but you go much farther working with other people. And that's the you do that at startups too, but big company, a lot more people, so therefore a lot more opportunity. It's a little harder to wrangle everything and everyone's interests, etc. But when you get them all going in one direction, it's pretty epic.
Are you thinking that quote? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Which kind of
makes
very
sense
when you think about like the difference between like a startup and a big company. Like startups go really fast, and at some point you need to transition to like not just going fast but going far, and like that's a transition that is really hard.
And we do that too with new products or POCs or what about this? You take 1 or 2 people and you don't put 10 people on it, right? It's like go prove it out and then see. And if it's something, then great, we'll put 10 people on it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Maybe not 10. I don't know what the perceptions are of public companies. Maybe 8.
Only small groups. Okay, so
we're seeing our stock move based on how many people Brandon said are on a project.
Of course,
I'm gonna get into trouble with that stuff.
I was like, no, we didn't. We'll scrub that off, if we need to.
I grew up in the era of like the whose line of is it anyway of startups and money. Like you raise money and it whatever, it's free. Money, revenue, growth, who cares? Profitability.
It's just all vibes.
How many users do you have? How many people?
Yeah. The times have changed.
Oh my gosh, the wait list
probably
era.
In a good way. And I saw that because I did all my startup stuff in Chicago, which was a very different ecosystem than the Bay Area. The Bay Area was very much like get users. There was a vibe in Chicago among Chicago angels and VCs that like you needed a viable business first. And like that was real. And it really pushed people to do more stuff.
Crazy idea. What a crazy thought.
Concept. I think the Bay was just like, cool product. Wouldn't it be cool if we... And then they're like, all right, let's build a company and we're going to give you millions and millions of
We
dollars.
saw some cool stuff. Like, let's be honest, but they had some growing pains, to kind of come through the other side.
Unless you're an AI company now, in which case it's free money again.
Just everything, old things are new. New things are. So, okay. So we have spoken about this thing called, ConversationRelay. It is taken the Twilio airwaves by storm. I need to add a little pizzazz to that. But all things ConversationRelay. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit more about just like what comes to mind when someone goes like, what's conversational relay? What's that?
So 2 years ago in November, so I guess a little bit more than 2 years ago, but ChatGPT came out. No one had seen, some people on the inside knew about LLMs and AI, but that was just really like it went mainstream, right? We could all interact with ChatGPT and everyone's mind was blown with text. Then a year later, so about a year ago from today, we saw some early customers and then people inside Twilio tinkering, trying to stitch together text to speech provider, a speech to text provider, and then put an LLM in the middle and put it on a live phone call. And it was pretty good. It was like better than expected. Like, to be a virtual, like a real Gen AI powered virtual agent. You could change the prompt. It would immediately change the personality and how it handled questions and how it interacted with people. And so, we knew we were onto something. There was something there, but it wasn't easy to do it. Like there's the details matter to really get something that's useful in production. It's one thing to do a demo and a POC. It's a whole other thing to roll this out to all of your customers or for a particular use case or whatever. And we saw that there were basically like three big ones that we felt we could solve, that we were in a good position to solve. One was latency. So if you have high latency on a live voice call with an AI agent, it's really bad. It's a terrible experience. And we found that it's like a second or less is what you need to aim for. And then so latency matters a lot. The second one was it needs to be more flexible. This is one of those things like we're being curious and listening to customers really paid off for us. We were surprised to learn from customers that they wanted more control of the AI side, the application side. And we thought maybe they'd want us to do something more end to end, and that we do have customers that want that. But a big segment of our customer base wanted a lot of control over that. And they didn't want Twilio to be opinionated about which LLM they're using or how they're going to do RAG or tool calling or what the UX would be. They wanted to own that. And some folks just wanted to own it because they wanted to own it. Some folks wanted to own it because they needed to train a model for a particular vertical. All the reasons were they wanted to own it and they felt it was a differentiator for their business. And they thought all the other stuff, the orchestration of the voice, the text to speech, all the interruption handling, those were non-core and also non-trivial. And so that's where we saw a huge opportunity, and that's where we've leaned in. So Conversation Relay is your low latency text to speech, speech to text, Gen AI powered voice product from Twilio. We have a WebSocket interface, and we're relaying text to and from each other. And the customer's application is on one side with the LLM, and everything else is on Twilio's side. So orchestrating the live call, transcribing it to text, sending it over, text coming back, and us speaking it out into the call, handling interruptions, turn taking, endpointing, all those things, have the best providers, et cetera. We can go into more detail. But that's what it is, right? It's a way to build production quality conversational AI with a voice channel.
I remember trying to do this a while ago with like the full, I was like, it had to be over a year, maybe it was a year ago. I remember, I think it was, I don't know, but I feel like it was on a stream where I built this with Craig based on some stuff that he had written. And it was not trivial. And like, I didn't get it interrupted handling at all. That didn't work. I didn't even try. But I got it like hooked up the basics of it. But like WebSockets are hard. Like this stuff is hard. It's like, it's not trivial. But it's also like, you're right. I don't think it's a differentiator for anybody. No one's like, oh, my interruption handling is better than yours. At some point it's just good enough and it doesn't matter. So I appreciate that you guys like stepped back and were like, okay, what are the things that we can commoditize for our customers?
This is the purest example of, go fast, go alone, go farther, go together, right? Like our solutions engineer team who sits alongside of it's in our go-to-market team, sits alongside our sales folks, help customers get over the line, like really with the nitty-gritty technical details, how to architect things. They're the ones who came up with this idea. They were like, hey, this is really hard. And we were like, huh, interesting. Tell us more, right? And so they were kind of the internal customer that we then could take an idea, go validate it with external customers, and then ultimately work together to build a solution. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Were you talking about this project?
Oh, look at you. That's it.
GPT. So the reason I know that is that this was, so Craig started the first version of this, he did his own like thing where it would just be like chat and then like repeat it in OpenAI in a 11 Labs of voice. And then I did my own version extending it. And then Charlie Weems made it
So, of
actually
course.
work. Yeah. But it was fun to build. It was the only time I built with WebSockets. It was cool.
So we've, oversimplified. We've taken
Yeah.
that and productized it, and added, some more bells and whistles.
So you know what I might actually do right now? I have a short recording. I think it's like a few minutes long, from a demo that you gave us for the quarterly releases webinar. That was back in December. That kind of goes through the structure of it, the architecture, how it's implemented, and then gives a quick demo. I think now's a good time for me to play that for like a few moments. Right?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Cool. Let me figure out the best way to do this.
This is a high-level architecture, and Twilio is on the left. Your app is on the right. Let's talk about who does what. So you own the AI, and Twilio provides the voice connectivity, orchestration of speech to text and text to speech. We're going to send you text that we have transcribed. You're going to pass it to the LLM. You're going to send text response back to us, and we're going to speak it out. Really oversimplified, we're just passing text back and forth to each other over the WebSocket. Let's drill one more level down. There's two main parts to this product, and the first is a new TWIML, Connect Conversation Relay. And this is the standard pattern for building with Twilio Voice. You define initial parameters and settings such as the voice and the language and the provider. And then the second part is really where the magic happens. And this is the service provider interface for the WebSocket app. And this is where we'll define the events that you can expect to receive and what you can send back to us while the call is actually happening. So let's take a look at what this actually looks like and do a live demo. The setup here is, this is Owl Shoes, and a customer's calling in looking for a recommendation for a walking shoe. The demo is designed to show you how flexible the product is in terms of being able to change personality very quickly and also handle interruptions.
Hey Brandon, it's Ollie, your Owl Shoe shopping guide. How can I assist you today?
Hey Ollie, good to talk to you again. I'm looking for a comfortable pair of walking shoes to wear around San Francisco. Do you have a recommendation for me?
Absolutely. Considering your...
And actually, can we speak in French?
Bien sûr, Brandon. Nous pouvons continuer en français. Voulez-vous que je commande les Urban Explorer pour vous?
Just kidding. I don't know how to speak French. Can you please repeat the recommendations in English?
Of course. I recommend the Urban Explorer walking shoes. They come in black and gray and offer high arch support and maximum cushioning.
Ah, yeah, the Urban Explorer. I have heard good things about that one. Let's go with that.
Great choice, Brandon.
And there's one more important detail I forgot to mention. I need to get them as soon as possible. I have a walking tour scheduled tomorrow morning, and yeah, is there a place that I can pick them up nearby?
I'm really sorry, but the Urban Explorer is out of stock in your size at nearby locations. However, as a Gold member, I can offer you complimentary overnight shipping to your current location at Twilio headquarters, 101 Spear Street, 5th floor, San Francisco. Would that work for you?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, please, let's do that.
Fantastic. I'll arrange for the Urban Explorer to be shipped overnight to your location. Would you like to use your saved card ending in 9991 for this purchase?
Yes, please use my Save credit card. But actually, I won't be here tomorrow morning. Can you send them to my hotel instead? I'm staying at the Four Seasons in San Francisco.
Got it. I'll send the Urban Explorer to the Four Seasons in San Francisco with overnight shipping. Just a moment while I place the order. Your order is set and will be delivered to the Four Seasons by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Anything else I can help with today?
Yeah, can you please send me a confirmation email?
Of course, Brandon. I'll send a confirmation email to brhawkins@twilio.com with all the order details. Anything else I can assist you with?
That'll do it. I really appreciate your help.
You're very welcome, Brandon. Enjoy your new shoes and have a great time in San Francisco. Take care.
Thanks, Ollie. You too. Bye-bye. That's it.
Muted. There you go. That was awesome. So we could have done that live. Here's what I'm going to tell the audience, because that was recording. I was there when we did the demo, and we did do 2 or 3 takes, not because the demo failed, but because we had like other little technicalities that we were working through, and how you gave the speech. But like, Yeah, I love that demo. That's just such a cool demo.
I love all the mini curveballs because that's sometimes how I talk. And I was like, actually, no, that put it here. So even just like the reality of how people actually interact um, with technology and like actually change of plans. No, I need this tomorrow. But I love just even that aspect of like latency. Like you don't want a response like 15 minutes. Like let me look into that. Like you know, getting a response much quicker, um, it just creates a more like human-like experience. Um, so
We've been doing this for 16 years, right?
Yeah.
This is our bread and butter.
mhm.
We should be able to do it better than anybody else. And that's kind of the pitch is let us do this. This is what we do all day long, right? Like just let us do this and you go do what makes your business great.
Yeah.
Is that the oh gosh.
Yeah, revertibles, you missed it. That is the NASA. It's got a NASA shuttle behind them. Yeah. So I love that demo. What was like what were the features or things that people were asking for that like you kind of didn't think about or like you didn't expect? I know you said there was this whole idea of like what people really wanted as far as like what parts we took, what parts they took, but were there any like features built in that you were like you didn't expect that people really wanted but really put it over the edge?
There's there's like a bucket of obvious ones and then ones that were unexpected. The obvious ones that we just knew is going to be latency and then the quality of the voice itself. There's like that's kind of your brand. That's the customer experience. So it's got to be really good. Those were more obvious. There's a long tail of things that people were interested in, as you could imagine.
Yeah.
But given that the target customer for this is it's our ISVs, independent software vendors, like these customers build software and then sell to their end customers. They need that customization. So that was an area that's a little different from like a product management challenge perspective is you usually have to kind of shy away from that and go, okay, well, we're just going to generalize it. It's, I know you want that and this and that, but we're just gonna have three things. It's gonna be super simple. We could lean in to making this one really complicated. The UX still matters and there's developer experience. We have to be mindful of that, but we can expose these knobs to customers. And so that's a learning that was cool to lean into. A second is more strategic. We learned that we really need to lean into developing and investing in our own VAD, voice activity detection, endpointing. We have some things rudimentary built into our platform. We have other providers, but we need to be really good at it. And if we're really good at it, we can then abstract how everybody else does it a little differently, and just have a really great interface. And that's non-trivial development work.
Yeah, I've seen some of the hacks that people have done for how to like handle interruptions, and it's so tricky. Yeah,
but that's the value, right? Is like so essentially, oversimplifying things. Customers just send us every text token as they get it, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to chunk and like identify ends of sentences or whatever. Just send it to us.
Yeah,
and we take care of it.
I'm gonna go back to some of RJ's kind of cool questions. He's wondering, he had a question, but I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. Have you seen any customers using this in weird or unexpected ways? I mean, and this hasn't been out that long, so it's kind of new, but have there been any like, oh, I didn't like think that was a way that someone would be using this? Have you seen that yet or anything?
100%.
Okay.
He's exactly right. This always happens. There's one like really basic one. We had all had our head wrapped around inbound support use cases, right? Everyone's called into a phone tree and hated it. So that's kind of like where we were all going. I remember the first time we shared this product in pilot, it gave customer access, and they immediately showed how they could do an outbound call. And that's so obvious in retrospect, but at the time we're like, never thought about that. And of course, there's lots of security and privacy and know your customer things, and Twilio can help you with that, by the way. But there's legitimate use cases for outbound calling if have permission to call, et cetera. And that was really cool. Then this kind of hints at the backstory of the product's name. It's called ConversationRelay. Why isn't it called like Connect AI Assistant or I don't know, something cooler? It's because it relays text we don't actually care what's on the other side. We presume it's an LLM, but it doesn't have to be, right? We relay text. And so we just saw a cool demo internally with two humans on a call needing live translation between them, right? Like somebody speaks Spanish and somebody speaks English, and it's a live call and it's human to human. Used Conversation Relay, 2 instances of it. And in the middle was a translation service, not an LLM, but translation service. And so it would just kind of take the text, it would convert the speech to text and then translate it and then pipe it through the other side and then speak it in the correct language with the text to speech.
I never thought about it that way, because one of the reasons, so I've built a ton of demos for Twilio and I've done all the track jacket demos, and everybody loves doing SMS because it's really easy with text, right? Like you can get an API code to shoot out text all day long. Converting that to voice is hard, but like you just, conversation relays essentially could just be that. It's literally like, oh, that's mind blowing for what this product is. I did not think of that, of like, oh, it's really just, we're going to take your voice call and we're going to make it a text to text interaction and we're going to handle the voice side of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so there's a whole line of use cases that, you know, you can unlock with that, that we might productize, but,
Yeah.
you know, we can give away free ideas here for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people always take your product and use it in an unexpected way, in addition to the expected ways.
And with Conversation Relay, can you bring your own text to speech or speech to text as well? Or is that built into the product?
You can't. It's part of the value prop. It's an open product discovery question of, you know, should we open up those doors?
Mm-hmm.
There's a latency trade-off, but the value prop really is, look, we're going to stay abreast of who's the best in the industry, and we're going to have them come on the Twilio platform and compete for customers' minutes, right? May the best provider win. We'll have a mix of the best startups and the hyperscalers, and that's kind of how we're going to do it. But yeah, it's an open. So if that's something you want to do, let us know.
Yeah. No, I mean, because you can use 11 labs though with it, right? That's one of the ones that you guys have or not?
Okay, so hot off the press. 11 labs is coming.
I didn't even know that. I thought it was. Okay, cool.
It's coming. Sweet. Yep.
We were not.
I was not even fishing for that one. I just.
We've got the contract signed. We got a great partnership with them, and we saw an internal demo last week with it, and it's coming this quarter.
Wow,
Sweet.
You heard it here
so
first.
Excited to talk about that.
Wow, Stream got some.
We think their voices
drops.
are incredible. I mean, they're really good. We also have Google, and they have Google Journey voices, Gen AI powered voices, and Amazon has Polly. They're also very good.
Yeah.
And then on the speech to text side, of course, we have Google speech to text. We also have DeepGram. We think they're the best in the game too.
Yeah, they're great. That's super exciting. I'm super excited to cover that and other things I do too. I've had fun with 11 Labs. The first person I ever saw using it is here. Craig used it. Yeah, he made Eileen, who was a little robot, and I loved the inspiration for Eileen was a famous cartoon character merged with his daughter's voice, and that's how he made Eileen. And it's I love that. So Craig,
that's going to be a whole. I don't know if that was a custom voice or a synthetic voice, or was it? Yeah.
He made a custom voice from these different things.
That's something we have to do a little bit more thinking on from a legal safety perspective.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You're not going with the Marge Simpson voice, not
plus Craig's daughter.
Get a little sign off.
I mean, you've seen the impersonation stuff. Like we just gotta make sure we think through all that. We know we're gonna have their great voices out of soon, in a month or two, and then custom voices is something we'll eventually get to.
Yeah, I feel that. Sweet.
There was another question.
It was another good question, and this steps back a little bit on like the use case here. Let me grab the exact question.
We had a feature. We had one with like feature requests. I would love to see Twilio functions support WebSockets. Would make it even easier to build and get started with Conversation Relay. Media streams.
RJ Pearson.
RJ Pearson.
Okay.
He's one of our champions. Yeah.
Man, Late breaking news. We're working on it.
We're working on it. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, we have a great
ready.
No, I wish, man. I wish we could turn it out yesterday. But we actually have people. I had a meeting this morning. We're talking about we're writing the PRD for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's happening. And this is another one of those go farther together. We have a sister team, the functions and serverless team, and they saw, hey, there's a customer need here, an opportunity. Let's lean in. Let's work together. How can we help? And so I think we're not promising dates or anything, but we're working on it. It's cooking. And we have a soft partnership with our friends Bento ML in San Francisco, who can do this too.
Nice.
But yeah, we're thinking about rolling our own.
Nice. I love that. I feel like that kind of stuff happens. When we brought video back, like a day or two before the announcement, I was in a cab with Bianca and Sarah, another one of our team members, and we're like, I miss video. Like, we should have video again. Like, we should bring that back. And then literally the next day, it was like, we're bringing video back.
It was so funny because we were literally like, man, this would really fit into this strategy of doing X, Y, or Z. Like, we laid it all out, and then this is how video would fit in. And then next day, they're like, hey, by the way, video's back. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. It's back.
Yeah, video, I think, like, especially for this next generation, I just feel like so much of how they interact, video as a medium, I think, millennials, I'm a millennial.
Look at us. Look, we're literally here on video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like millennials were very, I think we're very like text heavy. And I do think like video, it's the video moment. So I think it's a good time. Video, voice. I think there is something to be said about like the human aspect. People are still craving that. I think, yes, we can read text all the day long, but I do think, wow, we have one person that is desiring fax machines. Unfortunately, I don't know where that fits into the product roadmap, not just for Bertables, even the chef of the Brent. But I think video and voice are in at an interesting time, because I don't know. I think just like the people aspect, like the human aspect, voice memos. I love a good voice memo.
Yeah, that's actually, speaking of, RJ had a great question. He said, curious on innovation across different demographics. Some demographics prefer phone calls, some prefer async communications, including voice notes. So I know you're not specifically working with the end customers, like the people interacting with the AI, but what have you seen from the customers that you're working with, like how they're trying to create these interactions for their customers? Have you seen some of this stuff?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, and this is more fundamental, I think, to Twilio, regardless of AI, is just like every customer has a preference on which channel they want to be reached on. And, we serve everybody at Twilio. From, we have customers that serve their end customers. So we end up running the gamut across the globe too, right? So like there's like pricing considerations and norms, et cetera. That's why it's important to have every channel, right? So we have SMS, we have messaging with WhatsApp and Apple, et cetera. And then we also have voice, and we have video, and we have email. You got to have all of them. And then, it's up to you to give the customer, to contact them on the right channel at the right time. And that's really it.
Yeah. It's such a fun and interesting place, I think, to be at Twilio, because like, if you break it down to the core components, it's like phone calls and text message, and it's like, it doesn't feel that sexy. I'm going to be fully honest. It doesn't feel that sexy. But then when you take it to like what these things enable and like the amazing customer experiences that you get to create with it, like that's the fun part for me. And that's like the things that I like to talk about. And then, I feel like we all are consumers and know who gives amazing customer experiences. I recently went on vacation for my wife's birthday. We were in Cabo, like the weekend before last. And when we got there, there's basically concierges are like, hey, here's our WhatsApp phone number. You can message us whenever you want with questions or anything else. And so like, I was just like WhatsApping these guys about like, hey, like, where should I go walk around before we go to dinner in this area? Like, how do I get from here to here? And it was so nice.
And you'll remember that, and you'll tell everybody. Well, you just told the whole world.
Look at this. I'm sitting here on stream talking about it. But like it's those little interactions. So it's kind of fun to think about like what are the things that we can enable on even greater scales with all the technology that Twilio offers. And I love thinking about those things.
I mean, another right, like don't sleep on Segment, right? Like the
Yeah.
CDP.
Oh, for sure.
Twilio acquired Segment, 4 or 5 years ago. Forget exactly now, but now it's pretty baked in. And in the age of AI, personalization is going to mean everything, and data,
Mhm.
right? Like that's going to be the differentiator. Everyone's going to have an LLM
Yeah.
or an AI component, but you need to have that personalization component and first party data, right? Instead of having to pay to play, you're going to need to know everything about your customer. And Segment's a great place to store that. And it's baked into all of our products, right? Your preferred channel, hey, only talk to Bianca on text or video, whichever, right?
No, it's stream.
Or stream.
Why
Only
this
live
is
stream, Bianca.
Only live
Okay.
stream. If Bianca wants to chat, it's live stream.
I'm just like, I'm a little shook, Brandon, because I was about to do like a rapid fire thing of all these different words. I was like, when you think about omnichannel, what comes to mind? And I was like, when you think about personalization, and I was like, wow, why are you answering all these questions? We're all just like telepathically connected. Because I was just gonna get your POV on just like 4 different topics and just stream of consciousness. All right, so I might actually do this. All right, so we're gonna go into the stream of consciousness, and we're just gonna give random words. I'm just gonna get your whatever comes in your heart and spirit. Okay, when you think about omni-channel, what comes to mind?
Man, omnichannel. I think it's what Twilio should do more of, and I think we're really we've had a product focus on it more recently in the past few years to kind of make you have all these channels, and like Alex was saying, it's simple enough, right? But it's not that simple, and you need to get them to work together. And I think that's what we've been doing a lot of work around. You should be able to talk to any customer on any channel at any time. And every app should be omnichannel by default, probably. And I think it just should be more normalized, more out of the box.
Okay, all right. When you hear the word personalization, what comes to mind?
I think a lot about personalization and what we were just talking about with Segment because of this AI. Like this is the differentiator for a lot of customers and what they're building. And we lived. I don't know. It's a little technical, but like folks lived through Apple. I don't know what they called it, right? Where in the name of security and privacy, kind of blocked advertising ability and the cooking wars in the browser, and right, kind of having to acquire customers through Google and Facebook. Those are the known patterns. But if you want to future-proof yourself from any of those changes, you need to know about your customer and have that data yourself. And you probably do have a ton of that data. And you should be able to leverage that, right? Like nobody else knows that information about you. It's not public on the web. You have your customers' data. You know what they want. You know what they do. You know what their preferences are. Leverage that, right? Deliver a great personalized experience.
Okay.
I want to comment on that one in particular because I think there's like this.
You're disrupting the stream.
I'm sorry, I'm disrupting your stream of thought. I think there's this like thing about that we think with data where it feels creepy, where it's like all this other data, but you're talking about first party data versus third party data. We're not talking about knowing that, you like to go on walks in Boulder, blah, blah, blah. Like we're talking about the fact that like, if you are talking to a company that makes running shoes,
I love
talking to Waterloo,
cherry limeade Waterloo.
And Waterloo should know, or maybe it's Amazon should know that you like cherry limeade Waterloo. And it's like, it's the things that are actually relevant based on what you're doing. And I think that we've gotten so deep in the age of like some of the social media advertising where it's kind of like coming in really unexpected ways. And that stuff is a little bit creepier, but like when it's the company you're buying the thing from and they know what you're going to buy and they know what you're going to buy next, like we want that.
Totally. I have a higher propensity to buy if you showed me an ad with Waterloo and it's back to the creepier tracking thing, right? But if you sent me an email, because I have a relationship with Waterloo or Amazon, right? They sent me an email and say, hey, we saw you bought this. Why don't you buy this next flavor for like 10% off? And be like, heck yeah, I'm going to buy it right now.
I have the weirdest thing for you, Brendan. And maybe if we meet up in person, I'll let you have it. If you have a record player, I have a Waterloo vinyl. I don't know why. For some reason, I was walking around Arizona and they were handing out Waterloo vinyl. There's a Waterloo mixtape vinyl that I have still in the plastic. So if you really are getting into the Waterloo, and you want to jam on some Waterloo,
we're seeing personalization in action. Just now we know all things Waterloo. Okay, so
stream of consciousness, go.
Stream of consciousness, resume. Okay, so when I say the word technology, what are you excited? What is keeping you excited in the world of all things tech? Yeah, what are you excited about?
It has to be AI. Would I get kicked off the podcast if it wasn't? I think it has to be AI. You get kicked out of tech if it's not.
I'm just saying, we didn't say that you had to, but it was up on the list.
All right. So I was born in '85. Like I said, I saw the before times of the internet, and then we all saw mobile phones come, and then we saw crypto. And I have some thoughts about that, but we're not getting into them. Didn't really work out for me, but maybe for you. But anyway, AI feels like the thing. Like this is the one. And now we're old enough to be working in it and like know what's going on a little bit more. This feels like the moment. So that's super exciting to me.
Okay. I love it. In the last stream, when I say product, what comes to mind when you think about product? It's very vague. Go wherever your heart leads
There's
you.
this band called Wolfpack, and I think they were born. You know them? Y'all know them? They're from like University of Michigan.
I know. I was there at the same time as them.
Okay, of course you okay. Yes, you know them. They have this great bassist named Joe Dart.
Yep.
Do you know them, Bianca?
The Joe Dart bass.
No, I just sorry. Just the timing of like Alex, like, yeah, I was randomly.
I just bought my Wolfpack Red Rocks tickets. I don't know if you got those yet.
No. Okay, Alex really knows Wolfpack. All right, they have a song. I forget what it's called. But like, it's about a grocery store. Like, worker is like, I'm a product guy. You're a produce girl, or whatever. It's like a love song. But anyway, I think of two things when I hear product. I think of that, like product. Just like the generic term product, and then I think about what I do for a living is product and what products are and product management. And there's this whole onion to peel back. That's my stream of consciousness. I think of the lyrics to that song by Wolfpack.
It's the song is "Wait for the Moment."
That's it.
And it's there's some weird stuff.
I don't know if it's
I'm good
safe
at
for
stuff,
work.
You're good at stuff. Let's make some products. I'm a product guy, and you're a produce girl.
It's just this is a part of the stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
We're just going off rip. No, yeah, it is. Thank you for joining my random pop-up segment, aka stream of consciousness. No, this is good. I
really like it because sometimes you come on these kind of things and you feel like, oh, I have to prepare, right? How would I have prepared for that? That is true.
Just vibes and going with it. So like as you're continuing to build, like what are you most excited for as it relates to this like this time in technology, this time at Twilio? And maybe you're not excited. I can't project feelings onto you, but how are you feeling in this era?
Two things came to mind, stream of conscious, right? So first is I think Twilio's better positioned than most because of our three things. One is we're a platform company, so bringing AI in and sprinkling in everywhere is like that. We know how to do that. Like we can play nice with everybody. We're not going to be opinionated about it. Make integrations really easy. We're the leading CDP. Everyone or the leading CPaaS and CDP, and so you've got do all your comms with Twilio. Right, you're already doing it here, and then you've got the data and personalization. Those three things together, personalization at scale is what we call it. I really do think we're in a unique position to add a lot of value and not get boxed out, like from a strategy perspective. So I'm really excited about that. Mm-hmm. And then it's really early days in all this AI stuff.
It is.
It feels like every week, right? Like there's a new thing, particularly in LLMs, right? But man, all the models and providers, and there's a new thing and the next best one next week. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, it feels like there's another, we had DeepSeek 2 weeks ago and then O3 Mini.
Yep, and then the deep research over the weekend from OpenAI.
Yeah,
it's just always something.
I want to talk about research. You posted that. We have at Twilio, we have a chat about GPT, which is a really fun channel where we get to talk about kind of all the stuff going on in AI. And you posted this X thread about them launching research. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What is this and why was it so exciting to you?
All right, I'm going to caveat this with I'm not an expert on this and I haven't even used it yet. I've just watched videos. Okay, because it's for pro subscribers.
Video.
It's video, of course. It's a video. but this is the promise is sort of like agentic AI, where it can like go do tasks that were previously like long form, or you'd be like a specialized use case and go browse around, and it'll basically take a prompt and go and do independent research on it in different places and go find sources and then bring it back to you in a summarized report pretty quickly. It's varying amounts of time.
Yeah.
And early reports suggest that it's pretty darn good and powerful.
Perplexity kind of did this, but it was a little different. It was you guided it a lot with Perplexity, but it was still pretty cool.
Google has a feature coming that's called the same thing. So I don't know. There's a lot of, wars going on in this space. That's a cutthroat space to be in.
Yeah. And I'm kind of glad we're not. Like, I'm glad we're very agent agnostic. Like, these things are going to be amazing. And at some point, someone's going to use deep research to create a knowledge base that we can plug into that you can plug into like our AI agent tool, and AI assistant tool. And like, people can use these to do some really cool things. And I love, I agree with you. I love where Twilio's positioned on this. What would you use this for? What would, like, if you, the first time someone said, here's a pro account, here's deep research, well, what's the first thing that you would plug into it?
It's a good question. I think a lot about product management, like core work. Like, hey, I need to understand an area, or like, what are the competitors in this space, or like, who has a strategic advantage here? Like, what are the, like, sometimes knowing the cap tables and like the financials of companies are interesting too, because if there's a weakness or a strength. Anyway, go tell me everything there is to know about that, and then bring it back to me in a nice little one pager. Man, that takes a lot of work. PMs have to do that, right? Like competitive analysis, understand a new space. That's how I would use it. And this is all like stuff that we're really excited about internally, like with the reasoning models, right? You have the base models, that are fast, et cetera. And then you have the reasoning ones that can take a little longer, but give you a more in-depth answer and show you sort of their train of thought. This is stuff we're thinking about, right? With multi-agent swarms, orchestration, where you have specialized agents, right? Like in a workflow. You may want to do, really fast one that does intent classification. Okay, let's take a voice call. Someone called in. What are they calling about? Oh, they need help with this. Okay, great. Spit it out to the next agent. That agent's really good at doing returns or something, right? And then maybe there's one that needs to pop out and think a little longer, and latency is okay because it's going to do a hard job, but come back with a better answer. Those are all things that we're hacking on internally today.
Yeah. The other thing too, which I think is very underrated, which is like technology is creating culture in so many ways. So it's like the things before that you wouldn't ask, computer to do for you. And now you're like, well, actually, I think you can do this. And the first thing that comes to mind is even with like Superhuman, and just like having the conversation around like, well, folks will start to trust you to do more and more, right? Like email is such a personal space, but after a while, folks are like, well, if you're helping me cut down, or if you're helping me kind of get more efficient, like I'll give you all my data, just to kind of, increase productivity or what have you. So I think even just like our user behaviors are evolving. So it's just going to be even interesting to see like, how do we engage? And then I don't know. So there's
what's this called? A live stream? It's not a podcast.
I call this like a stream. It's a stream.
It's a stream. Okay. Like,
but it feels like a pod.
It does. But like shows like this, like every day there's somebody showing a new way they did something. Like we were talking about the question earlier from the chat, somebody in the chat.
Yeah, RJ.
Using products, right, that in an unanticipated ways. Every day somebody's showing some cool demo, and you're like, well, I never thought about that. That's definitely what's happening in this space. And Twilio has like a more, like we talked about ConversationRelay. Twilio has a more opinionated product that's an agent builder platform.
Yeah.
With a UI, and it does more of these things for you. And that's where we're exploring some of the things I was just talking about.
Yeah, we're gonna, in 2 weeks, stay tuned everybody. In 2 weeks, we're gonna have Noah come on, who's
he's so good.
Gonna give us, I know he's so good. He just joined Twilio and he's already like rocking it.
I can't believe he just like joined like yesterday. I told him he's giving like 2 years at Twilio energy, still enthusiastic, still has a joy, but also just like, I know all the things. But
you got to tune into that one. It's going to be at Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
You got it.
Okay.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
this guy got thrown in like the first day. He had to lead a customer hackathon for like a 4-hour build on site with this product, and he nailed it. So yeah, he'll be a great guest.
See,
Yeah.
I mean, you're a great guest too. No, this is pretty cool stuff. I think like how, not everyone is kind of building for a company. How can folks feel kind of empowered, right? Like with new technology, what comes to mind when you think about like how the regular civilians, like how do we stay excited about these things? Just kind of curious, like your POV.
I mean, what a time to be alive, because you can go as deep or as shallow as you want. You know, we can find most anybody can fire up a web browser or a phone and like Google, right? Or, maybe ChatGPT or Perplexity, can go find out whatever they want to learn more about. And so you can go as deep as you want. I also think about these things too, like the change happens slowly and then all at once. I'm not on team like, oh, next year there's going to be no more humans on phone calls, or everything's going to be run by AI. I mean, it'll take a while, but then one day we'll wake up and be like, holy, it's everywhere, right? It's just part of our lives. And you have consumer companies that are going to deliver really good end experiences, which is different from B2B, which we're in the business of that.
Yeah.
Consumer products got to have really good polish and great new UX, and it's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah. Something interesting. There was another tweet that got posted that we like YC companies are just massively investing, or like founders are basically building all these and investing in all these like voice AI companies. And this is a really cool tweet by Olivia Moore. And she breaks down like, what are they doing? Like, what vertical are they in? And like, what's the final use case? Like, tons of these are financial services, or healthcare was a big one. This is just such cool stuff, and customer support. I think that we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg here. And I think you're absolutely right. That we're just, at some point, we're just going to wake up and it's going to be different. But like, there's a lot of work going in to get us here.
We have Amazon DNA with Jeff Lawson, our founder, right? Coming from there, it's day one, right? It really does feel like that.
Yeah.
That's a saying that they have, right? It feels like that, and the industries, the verticals, the use cases. It's not like, oh, there's one or two. It's all of them. It's like every industry you could think of, and I think that's what's so unique about, and exciting about this.
It is.
And Olivia Moore is great. She's from Andreessen Horowitz. And I think they're one of the we partner with some of their companies. We'll leave it at that.
We do. No, that's just super cool. I love the this pivot and just like letting people make it easier to build these kind of things. You are working on so much stuff. What's like the next thing that you're just really excited about? If you can share it. If you can't share it, that's fine.
One that's okay to share would be speech to speech. So we talked a lot about text to speech and speech to text. We still think that's like it's funny calling it the mature way to do it, because it didn't exist 6 months ago or a year ago. But anyway, that's businesses run on text. You want to do real-time safeguards and guardrails. You need to do it. You need to do transcription. So businesses run on text today. There's lots of choice with them. Speech to speech, that's going to be an interesting technology to see how that's developed. Right. And see if, is that become the thing that everybody uses?
Right.
OpenAI was the first with the real-time API, and then you've got some open source ones with Ultravox by Fixie, and then you've got Gemini's got something in early preview. We'll see. It's really early days, but that's something that we're super excited about on the voice side. And you can bet that Twilio will have an answer for that as well, because our answer is really, for developers, is basically to say yes. If you want to do something, the answer is yes. Twilio can do it. And who are we to decide for you what the best way to build your app is? So we're excited about that one.
Yay! We had a question. We had a question, and then we have an announcement. Okay, let's see. Curious All right.
on where ConversationRelay will go with inspiration from other Twilio products, i.e. AI Assistant. I'm thinking like customer memory integration. So I'll actually start this one because I know the answer, I think, to some extent. So Conversation Relay actually powers the voice channel for AI assistants.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the same. That's like this is the Lego analogy again, right? Conversation Relay is a Lego in the AI assistants Lego kit.
Mhm.
And we're going to think about, it's really cool. AI assistants is great for our end customers who want us to do more. But it's also like having an internal customer that we work really closely with. So anything that we develop there that seems like it might be interesting as a standalone Lego, we will carve it out. And so knowledge is certainly one of them, and memory, guardrails, and there's a number of things that we're thinking about.
I also love how it really gives us a wider view of customers, because you have on one hand you have Conversation Relay, which is really built for like your independent software vendors, your people providing a service to somebody else that's going to go and make their interaction with a third party. And then if somebody wants to use this stuff directly, they can use AI assistance. So it kind of like, it really broadens who can use Twilio without too much energy. All of them require you to be a little bit of a builder and developer. I love AI assistants because like, as long as you know how to access an API, you can basically build anything you want. Like, it's wildly easy. But it really does open up the doors for a lot of different people to use these tools and products, which I think is great.
Yep, that's our strategy. Yep.
Very
Alex,
exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So Alex, Alex got to be careful. He's going to end up on the product team. And yeah, so really well done.
I've washed out a product a few times, so if you want to bring me back.
I'm just like, Alex, Alex, say what stressed you out. I just feel like Alex on product. Alex would be like, here are my opinions, but bye. I just feel like products is its own little.
It's its own world, and I am working more with product. Stay tuned, because coming out soon will be my new show, Twilio Update. I think it's launching in 2 weeks if we can get it together in time. But we're going to be talking about all the latest updates from all of Twilio products. So like, it's a way I'm going to plug into product, because I get to promote all the cool stuff you guys are working on.
I'm basically saying, Brandon, don't let Alex fool you. I was like, Alex, just we'll deliver the product vibes. We have our 2 cents. The other announcement huge news. This is major. So we have another show. Not by us though. Well, we'll have other shows in the future, but Brent and Chris will be on stream Thursdays at 2 p.m. EST. So we have more 2 p.m.s, 2 p.m. EST. Stay tuned for that. You'll find them again on Twilio Devs. This is probably not the greatest announcement, but I hope you feel my enthusiasm.
Brent, what's the name of that show again? Is it? Yeah. I think it's Developer Lens. Is that right? Will you let us know in chat or somewhere if it's Developer Lens?
Yes. Let us know what's the name of the show and where to find us.
Thursdays at 2 p.m. for Developer Lens with Chef Brent and Toe Frog. I'm excited for that show. I'll be tuning in.
Yes.
I'll be chatting up.
So yeah, lots of announcements, lots of great things. Brandon, thank you. I always love talking to you, even though I've talked to you like 3 times, but I've enjoyed it every time.
I love talking to you.
I just feel like you deliver such great like wisdom. I feel like I truly learn something from you every time, and you kind of create a space for like folks to think about things differently. I genuinely feel like you enjoy what you do, and I really do feel like you care about customers. You enjoy building great products, and I think you kind of remind me of that whenever we chat, and I think it's a good call out, right? Because we can get so into the weeds. So this is me giving you your virtual flowers, but yeah, I really appreciate how much you're ready and willing to like assist us, share insights, and just again bring a great experience for our users and customers. So thank you.
Really appreciate you both having me and making me feel comfortable too. I am an engineer by trade, right? I would prefer to be, a little more introverted, but I do appreciate you bringing me on and helping me, helping us tell the world our story.
Sweet.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Next week, we're going to be back at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have another Twilion who's a builder. He labels himself a tech guy at Twilio, Chris Connolly or Kano. and he's an SE based in Australia, and all the way from Australia. He's waking up at 6 a.m. to join us on stream. We're so appreciative. So check that out. And then, yeah, Thursdays, 2 p.m. So if it starts with T, 2 p.m. Twilio T days. Thursdays, you got Developer Lens with Brent and Chris, with Chef Brent and Tofrog. So excited for that. Bianca, as always, it's been a pleasure.
And also the other plug, Discord. Meet us on Discord. Yeah. If you have things that you're building, find the fun, tell your friends. But as always, meet us on Discord. We love to keep the conversation going. Let us know what you're building. We appreciate y'all, and see you next week. And actually, no, see you Thursday.
Yeah,
we'll see you Thursday at 2.
Bye.